up, guys? It's Ryan and you're watching Ryan Vision. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any updates to Project LJ, which is what you're looking at right now. The 2005 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport. And it's been a kind of a long journey. Owned it for about a year now. Had a lot of issues with frame rot, dealing with rust and repairing the frame, and iron rock off-road long arm suspension, just all sorts of goodies on this thing to get it to where it's at right now. It's been a journey, so make sure you check out the other videos. www.projectlj.com is an easy way to see them all, and you can do a search. But if you subscribe, you'll get a notification if you hit the little bell. That way anytime I do something new, you'll get to check it out. So today going to be talking about that thing on the back, the spare tire carrier. So those of you who know me from Project ZJ, you know that I always took a spare tire with me when I went on trails like Rubicon, Ford Ice, things like that. I always want to have a spare tire because I like to be self-sufficient as much as I can. I don't want to depend on somebody else. A lot of people don't carry a spare, especially with this lug pattern, 5 on 4.5. It's very common. A lot of vehicles use that. And so, you know, people are pretty friendly on the trail. There's pretty good odds that you can score a spare from someone. But if I can carry my own, I like to do that. In fact, I'd rather be the guy loaning the spare than borrowing the spare. So I always try to run a spare tire. I had one on the ZJ. It was kind of a slant setup, which is kind of funny because I have a slant back on the LJ and I'm running a straight spare. But the one on the ZJ was kind of slanted like that. Looked really good. But this one, I did a lot of research and I was looking around. I saw the Rusty's one. I saw a couple other ones, and I ended up going with MORryde. I think that's how you say it. And I'll put a link in the description. But the reason I went with MORryde is, well, there's a couple reasons. Number one, let me show you how it looks from the back. Hopefully the sun is not going to blind you guys. But you'll notice it's dead center. It's absolutely dead center, and like I said, if you know me from my other projects, I'm pretty OCD about stuff, and spacing, alignment, measurements, that kind of stuff, it drives me nuts. So if it's off by a couple inches or even an inch or a fraction of an inch, it'll drive me absolutely crazy. Every time I take a picture of it or something, I'll just be like, damn it, why is it off to the right? Why is it off to the left? So this one allowed me to get it absolutely centered. It has some brackets that allow you to move it around. So you can also tell I have a flat top bumper. What I mean by that is it doesn't have the little divot in the middle for the spare tire. And this rear bumper, a lot of people have been asking me about it. It's from Goliath Off-Road. It's called the Trekker. I'll also put a link to that in the description of this video. But I wanted to run a flat top bumper. I don't like the look of the divoted one. And I wanted the spare to just barely clear it, and you can see that's exactly what I've accomplished here. I mean, there's maybe an inch, maybe, between the tire and the top of the bumper. So it's absolutely perfect up and down where I wanted it, and it's absolutely perfectly centered left and right, and I know that because I measured it. So on the Goliath Off-Road bumper, from that D-ring loop there, that recovery loop, the one between the left and the right, that's 28 inches between those, and the spare is sitting right at 14, right dead center. So that's the first reason I chose MORryde, is it allowed me to center the spare. It allowed me to clear a 35 with a flat top bumper. And the other reason I chose it is because it reinforces almost the entire tailgate. It has really thick steel, and you could probably see this better if I would have taken the tire off. But this whole assembly right here, you can see how thick that steel is. Let me zoom in on that real quick for you. So the whole assembly, everything in this kit is that thick. I don't even know how thick it is, but it is really thick. It's heavy duty, and it's just straight up steel, powder coated black, and it runs almost the full length of the tailgate. And so I really like that. I mean, this thing, if you've been following the other videos, this thing's had problems with rust and everything else. The last thing I wanted to do is put a ton of weight on this, you know, 2005 tailgate and the hinges and everything and just hope it worked. And, you know, these spare tires are heavy. If you've ever had to lift up a 35-inch spare tire mounted to a wheel and everything, it is not light. So this reinforces almost the entire tailgate. You can see there's not much, you know, they left a little bit, they left me room for the handle here, but other than that, I mean, it comes all the way out here and it goes all the way down. That kind of gives you a good look. And that is you can see the bracket there that allowed me to lift the spare tire carrier up a little bit and to the left. So there's a bracket like that on the bottom and the top, and it's an optional bracket. So if you're not OCD like me, you can run it lower. If you have a notch bumper, you can run it lower and you can run it off to the right a little bit. But this bracket, you can see it's got multiple holes drilled in it. It allows you to mess around with that and move it to the left, move it to the right, move it up and down however you want. Now, it's important to note that this kit, the MORryde kit, it's not actually a tire carrier kit. The tire carrier I'm using is a factory style tire carrier, and you can see it's got the mounts there for the third brake light, the OEM third brake light on the top. I've removed that. I'm not going to run that. But that's as far as I know, that's the stock tire carrier that came with the Jeep. It had some kind of goofy bracket on it that I removed, which spaced the spare out even more. But I'm not running that at all. I've actually removed that from the tire carrier bracket, and I'm just running the tire carrier bracket itself, the OEM. There's no additional spacing on there. So whatever the back spacing is on this wheel, I think it's probably in the neighborhood of, if I had to guess, maybe 4.5 inch. I just bought this spare tire and wheel off of, I almost said Craigslist, but I think it's Facebook Marketplace where I got it. And I want to say it's like a 15x8, maybe 4.5 inch back spacing. So the beauty in that is you can mess around with things like the spacer brackets for the tire carrier, or even just wheel spacers, you know. So you can mess around with it and get it as close to the tub or as far away from the tub as you need to. If you're gonna add things like fuel or water, you know, Rotopacks, stuff like that behind the spare, it gives you a lot of flexibility to do that. Let me run you around to the other side. Just give you kind of another look as I go around, give you some angles here. Hopefully the sun doesn't blind you guys. So the big thing over on this side, you can see that bracket again coming all the way across. But the big thing over on this side, these heavy duty hinges that came in the kit. And not only the heavy duty hinges, let me show you the bottom one. You got these heavy duty steel hinges. I mean, they're very thick, very beefy, and they're greasable in here. I'll open it up and show you that. And hope the wind noise isn't getting you guys too bad. And you know, really nice heavy duty bolt over here, the hinge setup, and it's all greasable. I'll show you everything. But look at this plate too, and look how thick it is. Look how thick that steel plate is. So what it does is it reinforces the tub, and I'll show you something inside the tub too. The kit, this all comes with the kit. So it reinforces the tub on the outside and also on the inside. There's a triangular bracket going from this upper hinge on both sides, both bolts here, to the roll cage bolt. I'll show you that. So what it does is it prevents any flex in the tub, in the corner of the tub here. It prevents the tub from flexing or anything like that, and it prevents the tailgate from flexing. And then it's heavy duty hinges that aren't going to flex, and they are adjustable. You can move them around however you need to get the tailgate aligned. So let me give you one tip right now as far as the install. If you end up going with this MORryde kit, first of all, it's a great kit and it's very easy to install. I was doing the install myself until I ran into the issue with the triangular bracket on the inside, which I'll show you. My buddies Vlad and Sam helped me out with that. If you guys have been watching my other videos, you know who they are. But anyways, I knocked this out myself. And you know, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not anything special. You know, I just go out in the garage with a couple beers, and I've got plenty of tools, and I just start cranking away, and I got this thing on there even without being able to do that corner bracket, and we did that later. So again, I'll show you guys that. So very easy to install, pretty good instructions, wasn't really that hard to figure out. The key is get everything kind of lined up before you snug everything down. Get it all kind of lined up, tighten it a little bit, but allow yourself enough looseness that you can still, you know, move it around and make adjustments and things like that. The other biggest tip I can give you, because I saw some other videos when I was looking into which you know, tire carrier I was going to get, don't open the tailgate. So if you've got a top on, open the window, you know, unzip the window, or open the window if you got a hard top. Allow yourself to get in and do that corner bracket, but do not open the tailgate while you're doing the install, because if you leave it closed and it's latched over here on this side, you'll be surprised, even you bust those hinges off on the other side, this baby will still stay in here pretty good. Now you may need to get with a buddy like we did and kind of pull up on this as much as you can, then snug the hinges down the other side just to get good spacing here. That way it closes really easily. But I'll tell you what, guys, messing with taking this whole gate off and having a jack with a bunch of wood stacked, trying to get it at the right height and all that, don't mess around with that. Just leave this thing closed while you're doing the install, and go through your back window, hard top or soft top, just work through there however you need to. Leave the tailgate closed and latched. It will help you out a lot. All you have to do is really minor adjustments. One thing I forgot to mention, if these bolts, this is the bottom hinge, if these bolts break off on you, don't mess around with trying to drill them out and all of that. Just maybe drill a little divot in the center of each broken off bolt, and then just take a punch or Phillips screwdriver or something, get it in the little divot that you drilled just so it stays centered in the broken off bolt, and just use a hammer and punch it through the backside, because there's just a little nut welded on the backside. It's just basically tack welded on, and so you can just pretty easily punch those off the backside, and then you can use the new hardware, the bolts, and put a nylock on the back with a washer, which is exactly what I did, and that'll work out well. So I just wanted to add that in here. Don't waste too much time trying to drill it out and use easy outs and all that kind of crap. Just knock that nut off the back side from the front. You know, don't mess around with the back, just from the front, bam, push it right through the back, bam. This one too, if they both break like mine did. The top shouldn't be an issue. They weren't for me. They go all the way through the top of the tub, should be fine. But this bottom one, it can get a little rusty on the back side. So just knock them through, and then you can run a washer and a nylock nut on the back side. Okay, so while we're over on this side, let me just show you what this thing looks like when you open it up. So you can see it opens up really easy, and you can see it closes just as easy. And when I open it, it doesn't like fall down. When I open it, it's not like ugh and just sag down, you know what I mean? That's because of these heavy duty hinges on the other side. So it opens really easily. I'm just pushing it right now, and it has its own stopping point right here. It's stopped on its own, and I'm even on a little bit of an unlevel surface, but it stopped right there. And let me give you a view so you can kind of see how wide it opens up, kind of give you an idea. So this is probably about a straight shot. You can see how it opens up. It's not going to go further than that. So the good thing about that is if you were to mount something here, like a CB antenna, a axe, something like that, it's not going to swoop around here and smash the side of your Jeep. Okay, it stops here automatically. That's all built in. So here's your greasable joints on the hinges, the heavy duty hinges, and this also gives you a good view of how thick the steel is on these. So there's your grease fittings there, your Zerk fittings, and there's your bottom one, and here's your hardware. All the hardware was supplied, by the way. In fact, these hinges were already pre-assembled. I didn't have to do anything to these hinges other than mount them to the tub on top of this plate here. Now you will notice one little custom feature we did, and again, this was with the help of Sam and Vlad. I had these just cheap Amazon round lights, and I already had the holes drilled and everything. These were mounted, and you can see we had to do a little trimming, and we decided, you know, forget trimming this heavy duty metal that I had already installed on the tub. Why undo all of that work when we can just trim this really cheap $20 plastic Amazon light? So Vlad knocked that out, Did a really great job. And the only thing we notched at all on the steel is for that screw there. He just did a little tiny notch there so that the screw head could get through. So that's kind of a cool feature. I like that because, you know, initially I had drawn, actually I traced a circle onto here and we were gonna notch the steel, and that's probably what most people would do. But I'm kind of glad we didn't do that. This is a little different, and to be honest, it was a lot easier and less time consuming, and turned out pretty good. Kept everything centered up where it was originally, didn't have to drill any more holes in the tub, things like that. So I really like that. So while we're here, so now you've seen the hinges, and you can see that they're greasable. All right, and you can see that thick plate on the tub, super thick plate. And then this is kind of ugly right now. I'll be redoing this, but there's a triangular bracket that goes from the roll cage bolt, which we had problems with. It didn't want to come off. So we had to get a little creative, and we ground the bolt head down just by coincidence to exactly a 17 millimeter, so you could actually get an open-end wrench on there. So I do have fresh bolts. I'll put a fresh bolt in, but this is snugged up right now. It is tight. And then here's the other side of the bracket, triangular support bracket, that goes to the back side of the hardware for the upper hinge. And all this came with the MORryde kit. None of this is like custom. None of this is stuff that we added. This is all part of the kit. And so if you are running carpet, you're never gonna see any of that. It's gonna be all tucked under here, but it's gonna give you, it's gonna make your tub more rigid on this corner where all the weight is being bared, right? So let me come back out here, and I'll just show you how easy it closes. So the good thing too about my back spacing, the way it's set up right now, I have room to get my hand in to operate this handle. If you go too close to the gate, it's gonna be a little tricky to get that handle. But I just come in here, kind of with the weight of the tire, and just, boom, closed. You can see the tire itself wiggle a little bit, but the wheel, I mean, everything's solid. That's actually the rubber. This thing's only aired up maybe 15, 20 PSI, something like that. So the rubber's wiggling, but the wheel itself is solid. So that's another thing. In the kit, they include spacers to, I think I have one on the bottom. Yeah, that little rubber deal there. See how it's not touching the tire? They include spacers to space that out and touch the tire, and I think there's 3 of those rubber things normally. I have them all somewhere, I just have to find them. So if you want to run those, you can put the spacer behind that and push the rubber out so that it's pushing on the tire. It's always putting pressure on the tire. But I'll tell you what, guys, right now, none of those are hitting for me. I'm not even running the top 2, I'm just running the bottom, and it's not making any contact. And this thing is solid. I mean, there's no rattling, there's no vibration, there's no anything. I mean, I'm pushing on this thing. I'll kick it for you guys. I'll give it a Corona kick. Nothing. You don't hear anything rattle. I'm not playing tricks on you guys. Watch. Here, watch this. Hi-ya! That was a karate kick. For those of you who don't know, black belt. I'll take on like 12 dudes at once. I'm just kidding. But this thing's solid, guys. It's on there. So here's another reason why I chose the kit. Those are some good reasons, right? Check this out. Even with it centered, even with where I want it, look at this visibility, guys. Look at the visibility. I can see everything going on back there. I can still see out my back window. That was important to me. Let me hop in this thing. Let's look out the mirror. Make sure you don't see me with my Corona cut and all that. But look at this. I can see out my mirror, and I can see out my window if I need to back up, whether I'm at the mall or I'm off on the Rubicon Trail or Fordyce Creek Trail. I can see out my back window. I love that about this kit. And like I said, if you have carpet, and ignore my carpet, it's all chopped up. There was some weird amp subwoofer thing back here. But if you have carpet, you're not even gonna see that corner support bracket. But it's there, and it's doing its job, and it's keeping everything rigid. All right, so let's go take another look at it. And we'll wrap this video up. It's not gonna be too long. I know I talk a lot, guys, but I hope it helps you out. That's all I'm doing here, helping you guys make the decisions, sharing the research that I've done with you guys. So like I said, the biggest thing for me, I wanted the right positioning, and I wanted it to be rigid. I wanted it to support everything. I wanted it to reinforce everything, and that's what this kit does. So remember, you will need to provide your own actual tire carrier mount, the actual bracket with the lug nuts on it and everything, the studs on it. So the deal that's actually coming through the wheel, you need to provide yours. If you have the factory one, like I said, I believe that's what this is, you can run that, but you will need that. That does not come with the kit. The kit is a reinforcement kit to reinforce the gate, to give you the brackets to adjust your tire carrier bracket, the one that you have or the one that you're going to get, and to replace and reinforce the hinge assembly, to reinforce the tub, not only on the outside but also in the inside with that triangular support bracket. So it's an awesome kit, guys. And here's the kicker. This kit out the door ran me, I want to say it was $380 out the door. The Rusty's kit that I was looking at, $600. 600 bucks, almost twice the cost. Now I believe it did include the actual tire carrier thing itself, but odds are you guys probably have that already. So check it out, guys. MORryde, I'll put a link so you can see it. It's MORryde, and I'll put a link so you can check it out. I got mine from carid.com. I had never ordered anything from them before, but with this coronavirus stuff, there was a supply problem. I actually talked to MORryde themselves, and they were behind on production like 3 weeks. So Carid had one in stock, and I got the last one, 380 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood, shipped to my house. And it came pretty quick. I didn't have any problems with them. Like I said, it was my first time ordering, but didn't have any issues at all. So I'll post up a link. You guys can read more about it. But I'm giving this thing a big thumbs up. I would probably do 2 thumbs up if I wasn't holding the camera. But it came out great, guys. It gave me everything I wanted. And it's super solid. Vibrations annoy the crap out of me. And this thing has none. It's so solid. The positioning's perfect. The tailgate doesn't sag. It closes still just like it used to. Everything's looking really good. So that's it for today, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video. I hope it helped you out. And like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell so that you get notifications for future videos, because we do have more stuff to do on this. The biggest project I still need to tackle is the Gatekeeper off-road rock sliders on the side. It's kind of the last area looking really rough on this Jeep, and it's the last thing that's keeping me from really going and hitting the rocks at my off-road park, and also the Rubicon Trail. I want to get together with my buddies Nate and Mitch, and also Vlad and Sam, and a couple others, and get out there and hit the rocks. It's been way too long. So stay tuned for that. Gatekeeper Off-Road's the one who made my front bumper, and I think you guys are going to really like the look of their rock sliders on the side of this thing. So alright, guys, that's it for today. Hope you're all doing well. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.